Two bits of shocking news hit me this afternoon. I just got home and someone actually WhatsApped me from France, of all places, to tell me, hey, your local church is just burnt down. Have you heard the news? And I thought, what do you mean I heard the news? No, I've not heard anything. So they sent me a link to the Daily Telegraph, Britain's most popular broadsheet paper. Saw the link and my God, yes, the church has indeed burnt down in the very early hours of this morning. It's a 175-year-old listed church in St John's Wood, which is where I live. It's an incredibly affluent area and a very beautiful church. The foundation of the church was laid by Prince Leopold, who was a son of Queen Victoria. Now, the thing is, there's two shocks here. One is I was only in there yesterday afternoon. It's open all day, was open all day, and it is a treasure trove of Gothic architecture, art. It's got mosaics, gold mosaics, there's stunning artwork and wooden chairs. It's a very, very beautiful place. And it's worth just going in. It's taken me so long. I do pop in there from time to time just to get a grip of all the aesthetic, stunning works of art that were in there. So I quickly dashed up there, just up the road, across the road from here, a couple of hours ago while it was still light, and I took some footage and some photographs, which you can see now. And it's terrible. The shell of it, the brick shell built in the Victorian era by neo-Gothic architect is still there, but the interior is completely destroyed. And I was heartbroken. There's some amazing artwork in there, and it's just completely disappeared. And the whole church is open to the sky. The roof has been completely destroyed by fire. I didn't even hear it last night. It's like 2 a.m. this morning, and I was in bed, and the fire engines were there. And there's some footage on the Daily Telegraph you can see. I'll put the link in description below. You can actually see it on fire. And I didn't hear it. I slept through it all. Probably, thank goodness I did. So the irony is, and I went up there, and a lady was standing there behind the cordon, talking to the police, asking, any news about the cause of the fire, and that they don't know yet. It's a big building. It's still, cooling down. Perhaps they have no idea what caused it. And she lives locally as well. She got an email from her son in Brussels, she told me, telling her that the church had burned. So it's hit international news because because of its connections with the royal family and its great artistic merit, and in a very prominent part of London. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, so I went up there, I filmed it, as you can see, took photographs, and I was one of the last people to see it, actually. Yesterday afternoon, I was strolling around. I go for walks in the area. It's a very nice area. And, it's nice to pop in sometimes. Why not? And I must have been one of the last people ever to see the interior, and very, very, very sad. So I read the article on the Telegraph, and you can see it for yourself. And then I looked at the comments. And that was my second shock of the day. So many comments, believe it or not, were blaming Muslims. Unbelievable. The bigoted, racist, Islamophobic comments. There are so many of them on this site. There's no evidence. It's entirely random. There are thousands of Anglican churches in London, mostly Victorian churches. This particular one is very liberal. I mean, they support LGBT and all. There's a very young, trendy female vicar. She's not offensive to anyone, any locals at all. She's, very liberal, as I say. So there's no reason that she or that church would be a target at all. It's just completely silly. And churches in Britain are not targets of Muslims. It's just ridiculous. A random idea. But the hatred and the bigotry of many, not all of them, but many of them, dare I say most of them, you can read them for yourself. And what hurts a lot, if you look at the comments yourself, you can do this yourself. It says here, the Daily Telegraph says, the Telegraph values your comments, but kindly requests all posts on the topic are constructive and respectful. Please review our commenting policy. Yeah? You think, great. But then all these awful comments have got through. They've got through the Daily Telegraph's respectful censorship, and they're openly attacking and being bigoted and racist. So Telegraph, and you are the largest circulation British newspaper for broadsheets. I think the Daily Mail is more popular of the tabloids, are letting in all these comments. And I put up a couple of comments just pushing back. And, you can see my name there, Paul Williams, what I've said, but it's hopeless. And that was the second shock of the day, the racist, Islamophobic, bigoted comments without any justification at all. Beneath the surface, it would seem amongst the readership, there's a lot of visceral hatred towards Muslims. And it's very, very shocking. So that was the double shock I had today. A beloved local community church, my local Church of England, Anglican church, inoffensive as could be. And actually, there are no Muslims in this area that I'm aware of. It's a very white area. It just happens to be where I live. There's like no community tension. There's nothing. And for this church to be singled out like that, I don't know the cause. What I remember just yesterday, there's a lot of wood, a lot of paneling, a lot of very old, the old roof itself and so on. Okay, it's very combustible, but, you'd expect that to have been, the electricals and so on. You should have done health and safety checks over the years. I don't know I have no idea what's caused it, and no one else has, at least officially yet. We shall see. So this is a very sad comment on mainstream media, permitting, perhaps in the name of freedom of speech. Where we heard this before recently, there's a certain incident in Sweden where the state, the government, the police protected, enabled, groomed, facilitated a well-known notorious extremist who publicly burnt a Quran, protected. And you saw flanks of police, allowing him to go ahead. It was all filmed. He wasn't arrested or anything like that. Again, so perhaps that was freedom of speech. Hate speech on the Telegram website is permitted because, hey, that's freedom of speech. When it comes to Muslims, that's fine. But when it comes to other religious groups, be it Jews or so, these are not permitted. It would be very sensitive about any criticism. People burning the Torah, unthinkable. Burning the Bible, unthinkable. As it is unthinkable for Muslims. We revere the holy book, the people of the book, as Muslims call the Jews and the Christians. Their works are to be respected because they contain, to greater or lesser degree, still some of the truth that was revealed to Moses and Jesus and others, peace be upon them. So the obligation for Muslims is to always respect the holy texts of the people of the book. Unfortunately, there are some people, perhaps many people in Europe who think it is some kind of right to desecrate, to commit these crimes against whole communities, hateful crimes. And then this spills over into this kind of vicious, bigoted, Islamophobic comments. I won't read the comments, you can read them for yourself, but they exude hatred towards me. Very, very sad. It adds to the tragedy of a much-loved community religious building. Whatever you may think of Christianity, whatever you may disagree about the Trinity or the Incarnation, that's not the point. Certainly in Islam and the Sharia, obviously, churches are respected and protected, but by law, that's the definition of the Sharia, is to protect these institutions because they are of a special status as a people of the book. So synagogues, churches, cathedrals are not to be harmed or damaged at all. And it's just very sad. So I wasn't going to make this video today. I had no idea, of course, what had happened. This beautiful church, St. Mark's in Hamilton Terrace. It's a tree-lined boulevard in St. John's Wood, a very nice part of London indeed, has been destroyed. And one can only hope, inshallah, that the community will rally around, and the Christians, if they want to rebuild it, as I'm sure they will, they certainly have the resources to do so in this part of London, will do so. But to blame Muslims is very wicked, evil, and completely unmerited. We Muslims are enjoined by their faith and by society in general to have peaceful, respectful community relations, and that is the norm in Islam. Anyway, got that off my chest. Until next time.